Have you ever wondered what it's like to take hormone replacement therapy for 18 months? How about what kind of impact that has on you physically, emotionally, and sexually? If so, this video might be for you. So let's get at it. In this video, I want to go through the sexual and sexuality changes I've experienced after 18 months on hormone replacement therapy, or HRT, or how these little pills changed my life, because they will change your life. I'll post 2 other videos in this series, one on the physical changes and another on the emotional and psychological changes that I've experienced. This video is more about just sex and sexuality. So if that's not something you're comfortable with, I understand. This will be not safe for work. I will talk a lot about just my body, things I've experienced with partners, and what it's like during transition to go through all this. And just to be clear, I am a woman with a penis, and I'm going to talk about that. How has HRT impacted my sexuality and my sex life? For the first 40 years of my life, I was a cisgender heterosexual male. Or was I? I had girlfriends. I had a wife. I enjoyed sex physically. There was pleasure there. I enjoyed giving pleasure as well. But I always had secrets. I was always trying to hide who I was, what I wanted. I could never be upfront about what gave me pleasure. And it was just in those moments when I'd be given permission to wear a dress or an outfit and maybe share a fantasy that I could just give a little bit of myself or enjoy myself a little bit. But I always had secrets. I was always trying to hide who I really was, except in those moments where I could step out a little bit, whether it was wearing a dress, my partner would give me permission, sharing a fantasy that was usually about a guy, just to stay hard. Having a threesome. And it was always really driven by my profound self-hatred for my physical body. And it's really hard to have this conversation without marking the severe gender dysphoria I experienced in general and the specific bottom dysphoria I experienced with regards to my penis. So it took a long time to get to that point. And with the help of a professional, talking to close friends over the last few months, just helping me really unpack a lot of experiences, going all the way back to childhood, and how they were all really just manifestations of that dysphoria, and how I experienced that massive sense of discombobulation. There's a lot of trans folks out there, and in terms of sexual orientation, we're all over the map as a community. We all have different experiences. Of our sexual identity and expressions of that. It seems like there are a lot of trans girls who identified previously as straight men and who are now gay women. And I'll just take a minute. It's July 2019. The United States soccer team has just won the World Cup in France a couple weeks ago. And I gotta say that Megan Rapinoe, she gives me all the gay feels. Wow. Every time she had something to say, I loved listening to her. And as a soccer fan, I loved watching her too, and how she gave it everything. And I don't think I've cheered for a U.S. soccer team since 1994 when they hosted the World Cup. But My sexual orientation has always been really clouded. I might have described it previously as confused. I used to think I was bisexual, and I told I told former girlfriends and so on that I was. I'm at a point now in my life where it doesn't matter. I don't care what my orientation is, if that makes sense. And it's not to take away from anyone else. It's just the things I'm working through, in my life right now are really priorities for me, and I'm enjoying myself. I've dated men, I've dated women, and it's fun for sure. And I'm all over the place. It's like a confused roadmap, but I'm not confused in that I know I'm a queer woman, and within that, I feel so empowered to just enjoy the attraction that I feel or the experiences I have with somebody else. And nothing else really matters because I know who I am now, and I don't need to label that to make you comfortable. It's been about a year since I've had sex where I penetrated someone. And I mean, like, enjoyed it from beginning to end, and I was able to come at the end of it. Since then, it's just kind of got increasingly frustrating when I'm with someone, and it just doesn't happen. So I don't do that anymore. I do have Cialis. I have a prescription for it, but it doesn't work. And my doctor has suggested it's because there's no testosterone in my system, and if I want it to work, that I should go off my blockers for a few days prior to something, like if I'm going away with someone or what have you. But I don't want to reintroduce testosterone to my body under any circumstances. And like, if you're watching this and you're a chaser, welcome. Please don't send me a message. Just that's your thing. Or that trans porn is the biggest growing demographic on the internet. And all the different words that are used to describe that. But those girls go off their blockers to have that performance for the camera, and I can't imagine what that does to them. And I know it's not something that I want to experience. No matter how much I enjoy somebody else's body, or want them to enjoy mine. So the other thing I noticed about 8 months in was just the total elimination of the sex drive, completely eroded. It's only been in the last couple of months that I've had a sense of libido, where I've begun to feel that sense of longing. And it's the only way I can describe the difference in my sex drive now, is that previously I could just get off in, seconds, and it was done. It was like, a quick itch, and it was satisfied. Now, it takes a long time. It takes a long time, and it's like this deep sense of need. But at the same point, I don't feel an emptiness that I need to fill with somebody else, which has also been really a wonderful experience to step into this world where I can be alone but not lonely, and that I now enjoy being by myself, and that's really cool. It does take longer to get off, but I can have multiple orgasms now. That's a lot of fun. It's been months and months since I've produced any sort of ejaculate at all, so totally dry. Did have a vasectomy, I don't know, 4 years ago. I don't know if that has anything to do with the dry ejaculation. So I don't know if you want to comment down below if that's something you're comfortable with. Feel free if you're watching this and you have a different experience, or send me a DM. That's cool too. I kind of describe, and I've done this for a while, that I describe my sense of sexuality as being flipped from transmit mode to receive mode. I enjoy that now, feeling that desire, and as a woman, it's kind of enjoyable to lay and wait for that attention or that affection, because it's coming, and it does feel good. But dating while trans sucks. You have to think that for us, there really is only a percentage interested in dating someone like me. And I get that, I accept that, and we could talk about the transphobia that lies behind it, and it's inherent in the patriarchy and in cisgender heteronormative worlds, but it's the way it is, and it's my reality, and I can accept it or I can fight it. And maybe part of me fighting it is being as open as I am about being trans, but at the same point, understanding that the people who are reaching out to me don't always have positive intentions. And by that I mean, I mentioned chasers earlier, and they're watching right now. I know you're watching because I see the analytics, and I see it on my Instagram page. I see it on my LinkedIn page too, by the way. I've got my social link down there for LinkedIn, but you're going to pop up, and I just want you to know that. And so what I mean by that is that there's a subsection of that percentage of people who just see us as objects, who just want to fetishize us, and the experience that we can give them without any consideration or respect to our own sense of identity, sexuality, or our experiences. It's become pretty easy to see these guys coming from a distance now, but it took a little bit of practice early on, and not always fun. But the typical pattern is they make contact through whatever platform, make contact, very charming, and then very rapidly the conversation becomes all about their sexual experience and their sexual expression, and it's done. Like, they jack off or whatever, and then they block you out of their sense of shame and guilt. I saw it happen a few times, and like I said, it's something I can recognize very quickly now. But it didn't feel good at first, to just be tossed aside like that. There was one person that I was surprised by. I got caught off guard after months and months. But they always want to meet in private. This is the other thing about this type of person is they don't want to be seen in public with you because of that. I was in the closet for 40 years in shame and guilt, and they still are, based on who they're attracted to. Their attraction to me creates a tremendous sense of shame and guilt. And I don't have a lot of sympathy for it. Like, I live my life out loud and very publicly. I've been interviewed by CTV, CBC, Huffington Post, 12,500 people have watched this YouTube channel over the last 6 months at date of recording. I've had over 60,000 people on my Instagram page. I don't hide, and don't send me a message if you still need to hide, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, whatever it is you need to work on, go work on it before contacting me. Because dating while trans sucks. Maybe my standards are too high, but I don't think so. I have enough self-respect now for what I want, where my boundaries are, and who I want to spend time with. And that's been pretty cool, actually, to develop that and learn that. My experiences with girls has been very limited lately, mostly by choice, to be honest. I know my dating pool expands dramatically, and the lesbian community here, the queer community here in Calgary has been super welcoming, very affirming, encouraging. And I've met a lot of really amazing queer women that just have impressed me on so many different levels. But nothing's really clicked with any girl yet. I'm not opposed to it if it happens, but it seems to be a lot more organic, and it requires a lot more work, to be honest. And it should, not everything worth it should be easy, right? One thing I have noticed is that there's a consistent set of qualities that I'm attracted to in a queer girl, which has been kind of nice to see, just to meet different girls and go, oh, I like that. And I can't say that I could have identified that previously. In that, when I was in the closet, it was more, I want to be like that. And I couldn't separate the two. I couldn't figure out if that was attraction or just envy. And now I know myself well enough that I can go, I like that in somebody else. And that's been really nice. With guys, I can't say I've had that same positive experience with identification. I'm still learning, I think. I can tell you what I don't like, and that's kind of cool. Is like, whoa, that's a no. It happens pretty quickly. It's like a physical repulsion, very, very fast with the dude. I guess in closing, my experience with sex and sexuality has taught me that it's okay to be alone. It's okay to sit and sort yourself out first. I'm enjoying discovering myself, who I am, and working through all those things that I need to work on to be a better person than I was yesterday. And that was never a priority. That self-care was never a priority to me when I was lost in that maze of dysphoria. I don't have a sense that there's anything that needs to be filled by anyone else. And that's nice. Transition has cost a lot. And if there's one thing I've learned over the last 18 months, is that it's also given me a lot. I am most grateful for the opportunity to live and love my life in the most authentic way possible. And I hope you get that chance as well. I hope you found value in this video, you've liked it. If so, please like, subscribe, share. Send me a DM, write a comment. Let me know what you think, if you have any questions, if you think I've missed something. But thanks for watching. And here's to life.